Hey guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of The Bus. On this one, something simple, just some nice simple wiring for anyone to really get into, just some beginner stuff. So essentially what we're going to be doing today is we are going to wire essentially any accessory to the ignition. So let's see what we need to do that. So one of the two things you'll need to wire it into your ignition is, this is just what I use. So this just jumps off the ignition fuse. I'll just show you down in the kick panel how that's already going. And as for the other thing, it's just a 4-pin relay. So this is actually, yep, that's right, we're putting a Mercedes part on the old LN. So it's Hala brand, but it's a Mercedes genuine one. My old man just had one lying around, but they all do the same thing. So these are the two things we're going to use. And then let's just draw up a quick diagram.
Things first, we need a 4-pin relay, keeps it super simple. And then we also need, and that's just if you want to do a similar setup with me where we're running off ignition, the adder circuit fuse holder. So that will essentially allow you to plug that in straight where the ignition fuse is and just tap another fuse off and use that wire. Now, keeps it simple, and then we're not cutting some factory wiring. Now, for the wiring diagram, we obviously need to connect the battery to the relay. So to do that, we're going from the battery to pin 30. You want to have this wire fused. And then now we also need to connect the relay to the accessory that we want to run. So from there, we'll grab 87. We need to run a wire from 87 to, for example, my bus bar. And then now we need to actually activate the relay. So to do this, 86 and 85, they're interchangeable. You can use either ground or positive on those. But for this example, we're going to go 86 is going to be our ground wire. And then over there where it says 85, that is going to be our activation wire. Now, you can have an activation wire run to anything. You can have it run to a switch. You can, like a physical switch in the cab, or you can run it to ignition like me. So I'm going to just run to the ignition. This is going to work best for mine because, again, I want the bus bar to come on when I turn the car on. So this, in a nutshell, is a really simple relay wiring setup. Pretty much anyone can do it. You don't really need too much more. So anyways, let's get back to actually installing this.
Previously on another video, I had done a bit of rewiring for this thing. I've also just redone this all, none of it on camera, like none of it filmed. Just because there was still a few things that I tidied up. I removed the bus bar that I had here, just there, and then now that's down in my kick panel under my thing. And ever since I swapped to the new bus bar, I've been having issues with the battery absolutely being killed every time. I also found a little wiring gremlin throughout. I got, my previous one was an externally regulated alternator. I bought an internally regulated one. Didn't realize, so I've just deleted. Along here there's a voltage reg just in here, so I've just deleted those wires and then wrapped them up, jumped past it to avoid it because we don't need it. First things first, we need to sort out a ground for the relay. So I just got some black wire I had laying around in the shed. Now, because of the way I've already set everything up here, it's going to make it super easy on the other end when we come to plug in the positive and everything else. Honestly, there's our ground that's just going to sit against one of the engine bay bolts. We've got a few good choices for that. Heat shrink him up, then that is our ground wire. Probably should have checked the length, but I didn't, did I? Now we just have to get our ignition ready. So this, I actually had this one right here. It's already come through from the ignition. So basically this ignition's just hanging out here because it's for my DC-DC charger, but with the internal reg and just the style of these, it's actually better if it just goes off the battery's voltage because it's a smart DC-DC. So you know, it's as soon as this drops under, I think it's either 12.8 or 12.6, the charge stops from that battery, and then the alternator will be pumping this one. So for mine, I'm just going to trim this off and he's going to be gone. So I put this on not long ago because I thought that's how I was going to be wiring it, but moment of truth, this will be our ignition wire. So this is our switch wire. Got it all connected up with the first two, so again, ignition just to power the relay and get it to switch, and then this is just my ground. So I've just got to pull off the one wire from here that's powering my bus bar, which is running off and hiding, so I'll have to just take that nut off and then get the bolt out, and then literally all I'm going to do is put a cut in the wire and then put a fitting on either side. So I've made it a little bit easier. It's not going to be this easy for everyone, but it shouldn't be that hard. There we go. So got him off. Literally just going to put a break in it anywhere along this wire. About here. That'll do us. That one, and then we'll just go grip him off. Run him out. Mate, these cleans, honestly, so worth it. Go and get yourself a pair of those. Save you splitting wires all the time. And this one goes to our battery, which is 87, I believe. I've got a little diagram up here. 30 is the battery, 12 volt, and output is 87, so I've actually got them backwards. So that's important that we fix that before anything else happens. Looking down here now, got the relay wired to the battery and also ignition and everything. And then the ground is just where I've cut out my battery isolator, just sitting under that thing there. With the wire that's running just up there. That's my ground for it. Now, let's have a look at some other things. So there we go. There is what I'm using to jump my ignition power off. And then just behind here, I've actually installed, there's a bus bar sitting here, just using factory mounting holes. They happen to work out. It's on an angle though. But yeah, just a bus bar here, which now that we've got the relay switch to. So I'm not going to pull this whole panel off just to show that. But yeah, there's essentially just a panel here that's supplying power. Maybe in another episode I'll pull it out. And to find your ignition, you can just pull off your fuse panel, and then you've got IGN, and then just go for the IGN one, and then that's your ignition. So just put that panel back on. Now, if we've done everything right, we should have all the accessories come on. Something I always like to do when I've messed with any wires is start the car after, before you keep working. But essentially if we flick this, yep, those gauges come on, so they are getting power, they're getting power. Double check, yep. So these ones down here are getting power from the relay too, because it's all off ignition. And then look at that. So I had a battery light on and a timing belt light on forever, and it's not been until I deleted my internal voltage or external voltage reg for this alternator that it's started to work. As a little side note, I do really like these kick-ass battery monitors, so you could just connect to your phone with Bluetooth. I'll show you the app for that, and we can see exactly what's going on with our front and our rear battery. We're just going to go on the BM6 app. That's all it is. Takes a little while to connect. There's the rear batteries connected now. You see the logo changed for second battery. And then now the main battery is connected as well. And so we can see that the main battery is sitting at 99%. It's charging. It's at 14 volts. And now you'll see that the charge is going to start dropping off the main battery, and it's going to start going into the rear. The rear is already being pumped up. If you do decide to go with this setup, I do recommend cutting this joiner off and then just putting like a male or a female fitting on there. And then that way, if you ever have any issues with anything to do with your ignition, or if there's anything going on, you can essentially just unplug everything that's being powered through your ignition, just to help troubleshoot or anything like that. Ask me how I know. But I recommend, yeah, just put a fitting on that, so that way you can plug and unplug it, and then that will make life so much easier. But obviously, this is just a spare that I've had. I've got a few of these spares. But as far as that goes, buddy, good oil pressure, everything's come on as it should. You can double check that the compressor's turning on. Yep, she'll stop in a sec. There we go. So that's bloody ripper, and Luxy is looking nice and clean. So how's that for a short little episode? So anything that you can think of that needs 12 volt, you can run off a relay. So again, you can run that to a switch. So whatever you want, you can, like, it's essentially what Spotlights use, right? Just the relay to say, you know, it needs a circuit to be complete, and then the ground or the ignition is making that circuit complete. That's your 85 and 86 points. It doesn't matter which way they go as long as it's completing this circuit, and obviously 85 or 86 isn't going to get power unless the ignition wire is connected and you click to the ignition. So that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So now my bus bar won't be absolutely killing my battery. I was waking up every morning and the battery was just dead, just every morning. So I know that I needed to get that fixed. And yeah, luckily it's something that anyone can do on the cheap. So if you have a bus bar and you are wiring it in, I recommend chucking in a relay just to make sure that it's only coming on ignition and not I think it was my subwoofer that was actually absolutely draining my battery, because I could always hear that going. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know if you want to see more of this quick type of little content just on simple basic things. But anyways, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one.